Hi there, my name is Polina, and in this video I'll guide you through our hiring template. So first of all, let's start from the basics. Here we have three databases: position, candidate, and the interview. That will be different types of data we are going to collect across the time. We open a position, we are looking for candidates, we run interviews and decide whether we are going to hire the candidate for the specific position or not. Directly under the README document, you see also a structure whiteboard. Here you can see the representation of the hierarchy that you may have across the time. So you see there is a position. The position may have multiple candidates across the time, and we can have we're going to have a look at our positions. So we're using the table, which refers position database, and we just turned some sorting by the name here. You can always apply the filter to remove hired positions from the list, but we don't have that many yet. What do we have about this table? We can see the employment type we're expecting to have. Do we have any candidates already applied for this position? The salary range, the priority, and the assignees, which specific HR is responsible for this specific position. You can also remove information about the salary if this is private information, but you can keep it because you can also configure access to the hiring space so your teammates didn't have access to it, and everyone who has access to the hiring space can also see the salary range as well. You can open also any record from this table, for example, city or position, and see the details here as well. Again, nothing is hard-coded. You can change everything. You can change the state and decide you want a different flow. You can define whether you want different priority options or you don't need a priority as well. This is also fine. And there are also two fields: open date and close date. Open date, we expect that you will fill it in manually. Close date, there is an automation. Let's have a look here on the candidate level. On the position level, my bad. This is where we are. Here, when the position is updated and the state is either hired or closed with no hiring, we will update the close date with the day this decision was made. Let's go back to our positions table, to the CDO. Okay, there is also a formula which is called date to close. It will calculate the difference between the open date and the close dates. Later, across the time, you can have those fancy reports about how much time does it take to close a specific position. And there is also a description where you can put the description for this position. You can even have several of them. The one that we are sharing on a public website or in our social networks. This is a real one document which can replace, I don't know, Google Docs or Notion or Confluence. So you can keep all the data here. And if we close a bit lower, we will see a list of candidates. So right now we have here two of them, Pete and Jan. And since there is a small arrow here, we see that also Jan have a scheduled technical interview. You can have a look at your candidates from list perspective. There is also the one from the board perspective. You can create a new candidate here manually, or they will appear here automatically once they fill in the form. There is also calendar, where we can see scheduled interviews from the candidates who applied for this position. So you can use it as a kind of your dashboard. And we also mentioned that candidates may appear after they fill in the application. So we go here, there will be an application form. So this application form relies on the candidate database. It means that once this information is filled in through this form, this record will appear in a candidate database. And you can make it look better through the edit form, decide which fields from the candidate database have to be included in this form. For example, we definitely didn't want for them to fill in assignments, the state, etc. Play around here and give a proper descriptions about what is expected from the candidate to be filled in here. You can also make the field required, like we cannot receive the application without the email, but we can receive the application without the phone number because, as you see, it's optional. And through the form, you can also upload files and even have a nice thank you part, the response that every candidate will see automatically once they fill in the form. What else can you do with this form? You can share it publicly, so you can share it to the web. In this case, a unique URL will be generated, and you can also embed this form to your website, for example, and that will be it. There are two ways how you can handle the forms when you have multiple positions. So you can either have a single form and ask candidates to decide which position do they apply for, or you can create multiple forms, form per position, and that will be it. This is up to you to decide. Once candidates applied, there you can see them under the specific position they applied for, and they will also appear on our global board, which is called candidate pipeline. So this board relies again on the candidate database, grouped by state and grouped by position. We also have a filter here, which hides empty rows, but you can also apply the filter on the position. Something, please don't show us the position where state is any of hired or closed with no hiring. State is none of. In this case, positions that were closed will disappear from here automatically. This is up to you how to define it. By the way, any filter you can also pin and call it hide closed positions. You can also use the Fields tab to define what is visible on the rows or what is visible on cards. This is up to you. Candidates will appear here automatically, or you can add them manually if there is someone you reached out directly. What else can we do here? We can also open the candidate's card. We will see the position they're applying for, the state. Again, nothing is custom, everything is customizable here, nothing is hard-coded. The CV, the file, if they uploaded any. And as you see, we had an interview with Jan. We can open also the interview from the candidate's level. We see the candidate, the position it was for, the dates, who was on this interview from your team side, the candidate email, and the results. So there will be results, description. So maybe here you can have agenda, you can have here agenda, you can have here transcript, this is up to you. And another field, feedback to share with candidates. So there are 3 rich text fields. I'm not sure whether you need all of them, but let's check out why would we need them. So description is indeed can be used as an agenda. The results can be filled in by you. So based on this interview, have you decided to proceed or not and why? And there are 2 buttons here, formulate feedback email and send email with feedback. So this one, AI formulate the feedback email. You can play around with prompts. It imagines that is an HR recruiter, and based on the results and the description, aka agenda, aka transcript, prepares a nice, polite email for the candidate. You can have a look at this, decide whether you want to change something or not, and then click the button Send email with feedback. This button is pre-configured to send email automatically to the candidate email. There is a subject. The message will be feedback to share with candidates. So we'll also use the markdown to format the message. You can also attach some files, and the most important thing is that you have to connect your email account, send this email. Otherwise, it will work. If you do this, it will work out of the box. What else do we have here? We also have here upcoming interviews. I unclick the button, all the interviews appear. As you see, the dates is already passed. This is why they are left as empty ones when I click this button, because there are no upcoming interviews, but I hope in the reality it will work a bit better. And we also have a report which is called New Candidates by Month. We go to configure it, and what is it doing? It analyzes the candidates, it groups them by position, it checks how many there were applications and creation date by month when those applications were received. So across the time, you'll be able to see some nice metrics. You can also think of other reports you may potentially need, because those reports can be exported to the JSON, CSV, or PNG, or even shared publicly. If you need to report to your stakeholders about the progress, those reports will be a great help. You can also, there is also a smart folder which is called Open Positions here. So you can learn what the smart folders are on a separate topic, but overall here we decided to show all the positions. There is a filter applied that those positions are active, okay, not on hold, not on hired, not closed with no hiring. This is why we have 2 positions here, and there are small arrows there. Here we'll see all candidates only about CTO. Here we'll see all the candidate pipelines only about CTO. So there is kind of a context filter which is applied automatically. And as you see, the sales representative position also has the same list of views. any view which you create in a smart folder. For example, I'll create a new table also with the candidates. And then I click on the button mirror to every position. In this case, this position will appear for every other position that we have in the left menu, but with some unique values. You can, once you adopt this template, it also makes sense to manage the access to decide who can see the positions, who can see the candidates, and if you have a bit more granular requirements, you can ping us in chat. And I also recommend it to connect later with your employee management space. So once the candidate is hired, it creates employee record automatically. So thank you so much for watching and have a great day.